is a girl. I want science to tell me. I don't want a 12-year-old deciding what the rules are on gender bending. And you may be calling Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade and Zaya Wade. You may be calling them cruel names. What I would simply tell you is that I am not here to judge someone else on that front. I am not here to have that argument with you. I was just palpably moved by the way that Dwayne Wade was the father he never had. Dwayne Wade, who has written books about fatherhood. Dwayne Wade, who has grown into a man on Miami's watch, going from a baby-faced kid, who was taking out loans for diapers while at Marquette, to a legend who will be celebrated this month by the team and ESPN in documentary form. That he would be a leader on this when so many people in the trans community have trouble with suicide. It's a disproportionate rate. That he would support his child in a loving way that would make his child not hide, that would make his child brave, that would give his child strength and support. It is what parenting is at its best. It is not for Dwayne Wade to understand that. I'm sure if you're looking at this and saying, what do you mean? What do you mean a 12-year-old boy is a girl? I'm guessing Dwayne had some of the same thoughts. Like, that's not something anyone thinks is going to happen. That's not something that anyone has an understanding of until it becomes your child. To meet that child with that kind of love is a strength that I'm not sure all of us are capable of. I'd like to think so. I'm the best version of myself. I'd like to think, no, that wouldn't be a problem. I would just love and I would just support. But what the hell would you do if your 12-year-old comes to you after, 12 years of watching that, as Dwayne says, he was on the girl vibe. He wasn't on the boy vibe. What do you do if your child comes to you? Some of you have to be asking yourself this question. And for Dwayne Wade to put this out in public and be a leader on it gives so many other people strength and permission. Now, you might not want it normalized. I understand if you're confused by it, and I understand if it's something that is what many of us are just simply ignorant about. And I understand if your ignorance hardens into fear, and that ignorance and that fear combine to create disgust or revulsion or make you call names of the Wade family. I'm just marveling at the parents these people are, because they're this publicly supportive on something that can be difficult even in private, that they have decided to be leaders on this. Because originally what was happening with Zaya is they were doing pride things around Miami, and at 12 years old, I'm still not certain that kids know what sexuality is at 12 years old, that it's so early in your forming process. They were out in front on being there with Zaya when he was Zion, and now it moves into something else where Zion wants to be treated and seen as Zaya. And what an overwhelming strength that girl has been given by her parents, who couldn't have expected any of this and got themselves knowledgeable because the love of a child forced them to put down whatever ignorance was there, whatever fear was there. And now you've got Gabrielle Union saying, we will not live by fear. What an amazing thing. As you see the numbers, they're horrifying how many kids have to hide in the shadows with this secret because no one's there to support them. And too often, parents are trying to beat the gay out of them or beat the weird out of them or pray the gay and the weird out of them. This dude, man, like as Kobe Bryant passes away, and we didn't get to say some of the things to him about being a hero while he was alive because time was too short. His peer, his colleague, his friend, his damn near his all-star equal, Dwayne Wade, is out here still fighting a fight that is meaningful, that uses the power and the platform that sports gives you in order to strengthen and embolden others, and is more important in retirement than anything Dwayne Wade did in his Hall of Fame career.
Dan Batard.
Texter writes in, Stugotz looks homeless today. If I saw him walking down Ocean Drive, I would give him $5.
Stugotz.
Thank you.
This is the Dan Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. All guests on the Dan Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance line. Pennzoil synthetic motor oils are made from natural gas, so the next time you get an oil change, ask for Pennzoil. The proof is in the Pennzoil. Here's your SportsCenter update. Blues defenseman Jay Bouwmeester is, quote, doing very well. According to general manager Doug Armstrong, Bouwmeester suffered a cardiac episode in the Blues-Ducks game. Damian Lillard is out for the NBA All-Star Game after suffering a right groin strain. And finally, NASA has confirmed that a potentially hazardous asteroid is hurling towards Earth at an incredible speed. I mean, we should probably be preparing for that, no? Like, when's it going to get here?
A good question, Stugotz. An important question.
Why are these end finallys? These should be leading the news.
They are
right?
doomsdaying. Yes. I think they should be. There should be whatever the alert is, sirens all over the universe saying, hey, there's an asteroid coming. Although I don't know what we're going to do other than die.
What would we do? It's a good question.
I mean, to die.
I mean, an asteroid is hurling towards our planet. What do? You die. You're right.
That's what happens.
All right. SportsCenter brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. Think ahead, think advance. At any time, 1 in 4 batteries is about to fail. Get a free battery test and free installation with any automotive battery purchase only at Advance Auto Parts. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to SportsCenter on ESPN Radio. All throughout the day.
One more thing, one more extra fat thing.
Wow.
On the subject of Dwayne Wade, because I want you guys to notice in the grief and the emotion of the last month where many of you connected with the death of Kobe Bryant, specifically because at the end his daughter was with her and he could do nothing to protect her. Think about that when I tell you, look at what Dwayne Wade is protecting his daughter from. It's a suicide rate that is abnormally high because of the shame and the pain and hiding involved in not being able to be your true self, where too many in the transgender community think it is a solution to the pain to end it by killing themselves. Think about that. When you make the connection points with Kobe Bryant and his daughter and the end of their life, make the connection points here, because that's what Dwayne Wade is doing by not clinging to his ignorance. He's improving the chances that his child can get through life in a way that is strong and brave and herself, and not a way that is scared, hidden, and feels like a lie that has to be ended too often by suicide because it's that big and bad a secret to have to keep from everyone else. And when you hear Zaya talking, as many of you have, and she shows uncommon wisdom for a 12-year-old, but she's 12 years old.
Right.
She has clearly got the strength of her parents there. Her parents are giving her the support and belief to speak her truth and live her truth in a way that should be moving to you, even if you've got all of these feelings of judgment and disgust and everything else, because it's simply a parent loving and supporting a child, whether they understand that child or not. They are loving and supporting a child in a way that the best parents must.
Unconditionally. I see a lot of people saying, Dan, well said, beautiful. It's easy, though. Okay, you support your kids no matter what. No, I'm sorry. It is not that easy. It might be easy for you, but it is not that easy for all parents when this news is dropped in their laps. It's just not. You might think you'll support your kid, but you have no idea what you would do and how you would react until you're in it.
This is the thing, though.
I don't.
I understand the people who are consumed with whatever it is, fear, disgust, ignorance, whatever. Trying not to judge that. Whatever the things are that consume you, those people, too, must feel silent today, because it's not like you can come to one of these microphones and start ripping Dwayne Wade and his daughter. But plenty of people are doing that with the safety and anonymity of the internet. And it's the very thing Dwayne Wade and his wife, who have lived a very public life, are trying to protect their child from. They're trying to give their child the confidence to walk into the world bravely as herself. But I get if you're confusion. I really do. Like, I'm not here to judge. I wish you wouldn't do it. I wish you would understand that That's their life, and he is trying to parent his child the best way that he knows how, with love and support and belief, and those things don't seem to be things you can criticize. But I get it if you're sitting here so confused by it that the whole thing makes you angry. It challenges what you've believed. I heard Bomani say this on High Noon the other day. The respect that Dwayne Wade is extending his daughter doesn't require understanding. It's just the respect. Like, Dwayne is clearly trying to understand it. It'd be unreasonable for us to assume that Dwayne Wade has to understand it. But what he said on Ellen is, the first thing I did is, let me find out more. Let me inform myself. So whatever my fears are, don't harden my love. Don't turn it into something else. Because too many parents, Stugotz, too many parents. John Amici said this on South Beach Sessions, like how you fail as a parent. When you are expecting your child to live up to whatever your expectations of them are, there's an extraordinary selfishness in wanting your child to be exactly what you and your belief systems are. That's not good parenting. Like, many people think it's good parenting, and I understand the need for discipline, and I understand many of you who are looking at me and saying, you're not a parent. What are you to say what a good parent is? I do know what love looks like, though, and it looks a lot like what Dwayne Wade is extending his daughter and what Gabrielle Union is extending her daughter. I got to get off of this heavy stuff, though. I've lost the room. Do you guys want to talk about that Astros press conference?
Not really.
Much of a press conference.
I call my dad, though.
Yeah. Someone to hug.
Dan Batard.
Mike, when you say round ball in the association, you're a bleep hole. That's it. Guilty.
Stugotz.
What else am I supposed to call The Rock?
This is the Dan Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Drivers who switch and save pay an average of $796 less per year. Kevin Arnovitz, in case you didn't know it by now, going to join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Here's your Sports Center update. The Nets defeated the Raptors 101-91, snapping Toronto's 15-game winning streak. The National Football League has reinstated Myles Garrett, who was suspended indefinitely after ripping the helmet off of Steelers quarterback Mason Rudolph and hitting him in the head back in November. And finally, the giant panda spends 55% of its life collecting, preparing, and eating bamboo. If you love Nature Valley sweet and salty bars, you'll love the new Sweet and Salty Minis. It's all the indulgent, savory goodness you know now in a smaller size. And at 100 calories, snacking has never been so sweet. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to Sports Center on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
There are precious few people in this country covering basketball better than this person is. You can see him on The Jump. You can see him on Twitter. Find him on Twitter at Kevin Arnovitz. He's ESPN NBA writer, Kevin Arnovitz. And before we get into the basketball stuff with Kevin, and thank you for joining us, I wanted to go a little more personal there. Just curious from afar, as Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union have recently on Ellen and elsewhere come out publicly in support of Zion, who formerly was Zion and now is Zaya, their 12-year-old daughter. What did you make of it from afar?
Dan, it's really interesting. I was just on a panel in Los Angeles Monday night about sort of the plight of LGBT athletes. You know, in some respects, God, have we really made any progress? I mean, Jason Collins retired 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, there have been a couple of coming out stories. And it turned into an argument because I think there was a person on the panel who I respect a great deal who's like, yeah, these leagues haven't changed at all. And I kind of snapped back and said, that's just not true. And you can kind of cite, you know, Dwayne Wade, and this is a top 5 player of his time, is out here on every platform sort of, you know, bringing awareness to this, right? I mean, I talked to NBA coaches who have zero tolerance policies, or at least tell me they do, on the practice court, about language that might have been completely acceptable just even a few years ago. You know, it's just not tolerated anymore. You know, I saw the commissioner of the NBA on a float in the gay pride parade dancing in cargo shorts and a rainbow flag. looking ridiculous. However, in service of this message, right? So, I think the conditions are kind of ripe for a lot more progress in this area. I mean, the question you get, and I get